Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. My name is Nate. I also go by Hockey Boy Nate. Today we're going to be discussing the lingering threats of the severe weather threat that was occurring yesterday, as well as a potential new severe weather event that could be happening. I've been mentioning it for the past couple of videos and even in my live stream last night that the potential for some severe weather could return into the end of this weekend, into the beginning of next week. And so we are going to discuss that because the threat for some severe weather is possible. If you guys are new to my channel, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you are new, turn on notifications, share this with friends and family and on social media. Also follow me on social medias. I also want to thank everyone who came out to my live stream yesterday. We gained over 1,000 subscribers, actually over 1,100 subscribers, which is absolutely insane for my channel. So thank you all so much for staying tuned in and getting the word out, listening to a person just talk about the weather. So thank you so much. I also have timestamps in the video, so if you guys want to go to a specific day, you guys can, but these are the days that I'm most likely going to be talking about the most. So this right here is Thursday. This is the severe weather threat that's going to be extending from the deep south all the way up into the northeast. Then we also have Sunday, which the Storm Prediction Center has issued a 15% chance for severe weather on their Day 4 outlook. And then we also have Monday, which they also issued a 15% chance for severe weather on their Day 5 outlook. So definitely something we're going to have to monitor. But for right now, let's talk about Day 1. This is the Thursday outlook here. A massive marginal, a 1 out of 5 on the severe weather scale here has been issued. So places all the way up into Texas, eastern parts of Texas, through Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, northern Georgia, the Appalachians here into the Ohio River Valley from Tennessee into Kentucky, all the way through into West Virginia, up into Pennsylvania, and into the Northeast. That does include places like New York City, so I would definitely monitor for the chance for some severe weather there. Hail is definitely possible. 5% chance for hail is more than likely possible here. There could be some spotty hail, but it could very well could be little under an inch. So this is the probability of you seeing hail over 1 inch, and you have a 5% chance here in the deep south. I did not update this graphic, this one specifically, but this actually is the this was the earlier on in the day. They updated the risk to where is more a marginal, and so this 15 actually is now not correct. It's just basically an entire 5. This entire area is brown. So if you could just imagine that this is colored in brown, then that would be greatly appreciated, but I did not update that graphic. So we'll talk about what all people could be seeing from this risk in a bit with the timings. But mainly a wind threat here for you all, and then a 2% chance for tornadoes is possible as well. Not a whole lot of activity there. There is a lot of energy. There is a little bit of shear. So there could be something that could spin off there. Quick spin up in and along the line. All right, let's take a look at the timings here for you all. Massive area to cover here, so just bear with me. Storms are currently ongoing into places like Arkansas and northeastern parts of Texas, all the way through into the Ohio River Valley. And so that'll continue all the way throughout. If you want to take a look at what the timings are, look at the top of your screen and you'll be able to see that for you. But this will continue to move off towards the east steadily, and a lot of scattered storms here that are appearing, especially into Ohio. You can see the southern parts of Ohio really start to get some storms into the afternoon hours. Same thing with southern parts of Arkansas. You guys really start to get a plethora amount of storms, and then the line starts to consolidate a lot more. You can see all the way here from Pennsylvania down into Texas. This is all just one massive QLCS, but it's more a broken line QLCS, or quasi-linear convective system. So a lot of, basically what that means is just a line of storms, or a broken line of storms that are forming along a boundary, and that just continues to push off and produces the similar risks for everyone. So definitely something people are going to have to monitor for, but it's going to be more or less a gusty wind threat, as you guys have seen. And you can see how that line consolidates more into Pennsylvania all the way down to Tennessee. You also have some stronger storms that could form down here You can actually see some more of those reds that are starting to appear, and I would not be surprised if something starts to form off of that. You do have the chance for some hail, so that some supercellular characteristics is possible with these storms down here. As this continues to move on through, you can start to see the lines start to break up a bit as this moves closer and closer east. So overnight, this is when it really starts to approach areas like the Northeast into New Jersey and into the New York City general vicinity. So definitely something to monitor, that these storms do dissipate as time moves along, but then as this continues to move overnight, you have a lot of storms that continue to linger in places like Shreveport and Monroe, and that'll continue to stay here all the way through into the evening. And so because the threat over into the Northeast, we're going to move over down here towards the south central parts of the United States, and you can still see these storms continue to move on through. I'm actually going to move my face cam over a little bit so you guys are able to see, but you can still see these just scattered thunderstorms that are really moving on through. Some could be severe, and we're definitely going to have to monitor this as this continues to move off towards the overnight hours into the early morning hours. And if you guys hear anything from the emergency alert system, you guys should know what to do, because I've been telling you guys how to do it in your live streams. But take proper precautions if you guys are ever impacted. Then it'll head further on into Friday. This is starting to head off more in towards the morning into the afternoon hours, and you can see how these storms really just kind of form down here towards the coastline. A lot of lingering showers here that'll push on through into places like Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Lake Charles, even places like Houston. You guys could potentially get some scattered showers all the way down to Corpus Christi. There is a lot of activity that could be happening on Friday, but not anything too significant, so that is the good news for you all. All right, let's take a look at the dew points here, the setup for this event. Dew points here, I'm going to move my face cam back over. It's actually not all too bad. In front of the line here, you can see that it is pretty much so moist. Very much so moist, actually. Anywhere in the yellows is in the 60s. Anywhere in the oranges is in the 70s. And so anything above 60 is relatively moist. And we have that right in front of the line. You can literally see the boundary right here according to the dew points. The bit of a dry line, a mini dry line, if you will. That'll be pushing on through, so that can cause some very strong gusty winds. But this definitely has some moisture here in the atmosphere. With moisture can come energy, and if we take a look at the convective available potential energy, or CAPE as we like to call it, the buoyancy in the atmosphere between warm air rising and cold air sinking. So the displacement between the two is measured in CAPE. So the more CAPE you have, the more energy, the stronger the thunderstorms typically will be. And so there's not a whole lot of it here in the Northeast. There is some, but you typically want over 2,000 joules per kilogram in order to consider strong storms. And 2,000 joules per kilogram is in the yellows, and we see a lot of those yellows down here in the south. So there, you do have the potential for some supercells to be able to develop. Whether they're tornadic or not, we'll have to take a look at the wind shear here in a second. But a lot of energy here in the south, not a lot of energy in the north. So this tells me within this general vicinity of New York down to Pennsylvania, all the way down towards Tennessee, within that marginal risk, it'll be more of a gusty wind threat for you all. But as I said, a lot of energy down in the south. We'll talk about the potential for some tornadoes here in a second. Wind shear here, this is the lower level jet, 850 millibars. You can see it is cranking up in the north. You have a very strong low level jet here from New York down towards Tennessee. Some shear values can be in upwards of 40 to almost 50 knots, maybe a little over 50 knots here within this general vicinity. So some very strong low level jet, very strong low level shear here. And so the potential for some strong gusty winds is possible. But you can notice here as you get closer and closer towards the areas that have a lot of CAPE, right within here, there's not a lot of shear, not a lot of a low level jet. And so there might be the chance for something to be tornadic, but there's not a lot of shear to back it up. So that's the reason why there is a 2% chance for tornadoes here today and not something larger. Your mid-level jet, I'm looking at the 700 millibar winds here. And you can see how the wind shear is a lot more intense in the north or in the northeast. And the same thing is down in the south, a lot weaker wind shear, 20 to 25 knots of wind shear down here. So, there is some veering with these winds. So you could have the potential for something tornadic, as I said, but the upper level winds just really are cranking up to the north. All right, moving on through to support my hypotheses. The Storm Prediction Center for Friday has issued just a general thunderstorm risk. I said these will most likely linger here, so you guys definitely need to monitor these storms in general. I don't think they're going to be too severe, as severe as what we saw this past live stream on Wednesday night, but you still could see something right within those areas, so we need to monitor that as well. Let's take a look at the temperatures here. Your high temperatures for Friday, you can see very warm all the way up into parts of Canada. Not exactly British Columbia. You guys are kind of excluded from this, but any provinces further east of that, all the way over even into Manitoba, you guys could see some stuff. You guys could see some temperatures in upwards of the 60s and higher, even into some of the 70s and maybe even upper 70s in some of these areas. But places here in the Central Plains, a lot of warm temperatures, a lot of hot temperatures, even these browns that indicate some of the some instances in the 80s. So really warm for the most part. You can also see just barely here, Florida. You guys are going to stay in the upper 70s into the 80s for the most part. Same thing with places in Georgia and in Alabama, as well as the coastal Carolinas. I'd say 70s to 80s for the most part. Could be your high pressure, could be your high temperatures for the most, for your general vicinity. Your high temperatures here for the most part in central parts of Texas are going to be a little bit lower due to the fact that you guys had so much rain and you had a lot of cold air that was basically settling in place because of those rain showers. So you do have the potential for some lower temperatures, but I would say 70s is possible within your general vicinity. Northeast, you guys are going to stay relatively cool. Another shot of cold air, or cooler air, I should say. Not exactly cold air, but cooler air will be coming through here on Friday, and so you guys would have the potential for some cooler temperatures. And then in the Northwest, as usual, it most likely will be cool, possibly wet, but relatively cool for the most part. Your dew points really dry here across the United States, except for the southern parts of the country. You can see here dew points in the 50s into the 60s down here, but everywhere else it's 40s and 40 and below, especially up here in the northern plains here into the Great Lakes vicinity. Very dry here for the most part, so we're going to have to watch out for that. It's still going to be relatively cool, so it'll be dry but cool, but very dry dew points here for the most part, and even very dry in the Rockies. So that's what you guys could expect there for Friday. Here's Saturday's risk. A marginal risk has been issued here for Texas and Louisiana. So a 1 out of 5 on the severe weather scale. Not really all too serious, but you do have the chance for some severe storms to move on through near Houston. And even into Shreveport as well. Maybe, just maybe, we'll have to see, because we don't have a lot of information right now in regards to the timings of this event. So I can't exactly say if San Antonio or if Dallas-Fort Worth is going to get, hit by these severe storms on Saturday. We're just going to have to continue to monitor it as much as possible. And I'll have more information for you all in tomorrow's video. But let's take a look at the timings for the most part, or just to see what type of thunderstorms you guys could most likely get. And you can see this is Saturday morning, and there is a lot of thunderstorms for the most part within this general vicinity. I don't have the timings at the top of the screen because we don't, as I said, we don't exactly know what the timings are going to be, especially with how low resolution this model is. But as this continues to move on through, you can see more and more showers start to consolidate within the general vicinity of the coastline. And so this will continue from the afternoon all the way into the evening hours. A lot of rain that is possible here. And so we're definitely going to have to monitor that for some severe development. Dew points aren't as high unless if you're along the coast or further along in towards San Antonio, so that is something to monitor. Maybe something more severe could be happening a bit further on the southern end of the risk, but anywhere north, not really as moist, so I don't anticipate a whole lot according to this model run. Cape, convective available potential energy, as I mentioned, this is the warm air rising, cold air sinking. If you have more Cape, you can have stronger thunderstorms. You want over 2,000 joules per kilogram in order to have storms in general. And we don't see anywhere that has over yellow, besides maybe somewhere up here into South Dakota and into the Gulf of Mexico. So there's not really a whole lot of energy for these storms to kind of be able to pop off and sustain. So that is the good news here. Low-level jet is relatively interesting. You can see how it is still strong. It is moving off from the south to the north. So you have an interesting low-level jet, and then you also have an interesting upper-level jet. So there is some veering with these winds here, according to the NAM. So the potential for something tornadic cannot be ruled out on Saturday. All right, let's talk about Sunday. Day 4 outlook, 15% chance for severe weather has been issued across basically most of Mississippi in the surrounding areas. So if you live in Mississippi, you guys most likely will see some severe weather here on Sunday. I can't say for sure as to whether or not I'm going to be live streaming because we don't have exactly, the probabilities on hand as to what you guys could be expecting. But severe storms are possible here within your general vicinity. Here in Mississippi and the surrounding areas. Timings here for you all. This is the morning on Sunday. Heading off, this is the now noon hours. And you can see these thunderstorms really start to push off into Louisiana and into Mississippi now. Things really start to get consolidated. But the only issue here is that you can kind of see, you guys can kind of see we kind of changed products here. And that is because the model that we used for most of our forecasts over the past couple of days here in this video has now ended. So that is that's as far as it goes, and we have to start using the long-range model. And the NAM model is more or less a mid-range model, medium-range model. So unfortunate, but these long-range models will have to do the job for us right now. But you can see here at the same time frame here on noon, your low-pressure system is right here. A lot of scattered storms that begin to form off, and this will continue to push on through all the way into the 4 o'clock hours, most likely, so late afternoon into the evening, and this will continue to push off into Tennessee and Alabama. I would not be surprised if the risk gets extended further, either north, south, east, west. Could potentially be a risk right somewhat similar to this for severe weather, so I definitely monitor all these storms as this continues to unfold here and push off into the evening. Dew points, according to the Euro model, it is very moist for the most part. Dew points here in the 70s across basically all of Louisiana into central and southern parts of Mississippi. Northern parts of Mississippi in towards Alabama and Tennessee are low to mid 60s. So a lot of moisture here with these storms. As long as it's over 60 degrees in the dew points, you guys should be getting some severe thunderstorms most likely. So that is the thing there. Convective available potential energy, or CAPE, there is the potential for some energy to be within here. You want over 2,000 joules per kilogram in order to get enough to fuel some strong thunderstorms. And in this case, it actually gets above 3,000 joules per kilogram in some areas. As I said, it's a long-range model, so it's not giving us the best accuracy. It's a bit more lower resolution, but something that we're going to have to continue to monitor as this continues to unfold in front of us. The potential for some severe weather is possible within these areas, and with this much energy, you can definitely get some strong thunderstorms. Your low-level jet here is pretty strong for the most part, according to the Euro. Some low-level jet amounts can get an upwards of 40 to even 50 knots, coming straight from the south, almost south or even southwesternly. So you do have the potential for it to be tornadic. So it's moving a bit more north-south right here, or south-north, I should say. So definitely something to monitor. I'm drawing these arrows so that we can see if there's any veering in the atmosphere. And there is a little bit of veering in the atmosphere, so the chance for it to become tornadic is possible. You can see how these winds in the upper parts of the atmosphere are moving more to the northeast around these areas, where the low-level jet is moving more north. So if you get that, you can get some curling in the atmosphere, and that's where you can get some tornadic development, because if you get some general rotation, you can get supercells to be able to develop, and along the southern end of the supercells could come your tornadoes. But decent shear for the most part, especially in the upper levels. As long as it's above 40 knots, then you could consider severe thunderstorms, even supercells and stuff like that. And it is above 40 knots. It's actually more or less into the 50 knot general vicinity. So something to keep in mind with all of that. But the chance for something to be tornadic is possible. I'd say in the southern part of the risk as of right now. But, you know, we're going to have to continue to monitor this as time continues to progress further. Day 5 outlook here. This is for Monday. You can see there's a 15% chance for severe weather here in southeastern parts of Oklahoma, northern to northeastern parts of Texas, as well as extreme western to southwestern parts of Arkansas. This is definitely something we're going to have to monitor here as time continues to progress, because just by looking at the models, it looks pretty interesting. It actually looks really interesting. I'll show you guys what I mean by that towards the latter stages of this analysis. But the timings here, this is morning into the afternoon, and you can see this is right around the 1 o'clock hour time frame, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Not exactly, you know, pinpoint accuracy, because we are still relatively far away, but towards the mid to late afternoon hours. And then all of a sudden, you can see that the storms, low pressure starts to move on through. Here is your low pressure. Storms are starting to wrap around, but then you're about to see, boom, storm absolutely blows up here in southeastern parts of Oklahoma, and things really start to kick off from there, and more storms really begin to really fire off, and that will be an entire consolidated line, or a consolidated area of storms for sure, as this continues to move on through from Monday into Tuesday. So definitely something we're going to have to watch out for, and I would not be surprised if this severe weather threat continues into Tuesday, into the deep south. So we're going to have to monitor this a lot, a bit more closely as this continues to get closer. Dew points, a lot of moisture here, mid to upper 60s across this general area. Just this general vicinity. You even have dew points down here south of San Antonio that is almost into the 80s. That is insane. There is a lot of moisture with this setup here on Monday, and so we're definitely going to have to monitor this. And with so much moisture here, you can assume that the energy is going to be pretty insane. And just a reminder, anything above 2,000 joules per kilogram and above, you can get the potential for some strong storms to develop. If they develop, keyword if they develop. But within this next frame with the convective available potential energy, this is what it looks like occurring to the according to the Euro. And I said that yellows is 2,000 joules per kilogram, reds is 3,000 joules per kilogram. We're seeing purples, whites, and blacks. That's a lot of energy. That is a lot of CAPE, a lot of convective available potential energy. A very massive hail threat that I am anticipating here within this setup. Again, there is just so much energy with these storms here. And, you know, these purples represent 4,000 joules per kilogram. These whites represent 4,800 joules per kilogram. We'll just say 5,000 joules per kilogram for the laughs of it. And then these blacks represent 6,000 joules per kilogram and above. So the fact that there is this much energy here present, you know, I'll move my face over. You can see the fact that there is this much energy present here in the deep south, as well as the south central plains. Now, this is definitely something we're going to have to monitor for. And the model actually says down here at the bottom, the Euro, that CAPE can be upwards of almost 7,000 joules per kilogram. That is a lot of energy. We're going to have to definitely be mindful of what all is happening with this event as this continues to move on through. So a lot of energy for the most part. Last thing that we're going to want to talk about with this setup is the instantaneous flash rate. And I wanted to talk about this real quickly because this setup looks absolutely phenomenal here for the most part. You can see well, you're about to see it, all right? Trust me. So this, what we're looking at right here is we're looking at how much lightning strikes there are within 6 hours. So greens is more of the 10 to 50, 50 lightning strikes per 6 hours. Yellows is 50 to 75. Orange is 75 to 100. Red is from 100 to 250. Actually, 200 to 400. And then once you start to get into the pinks, that's from 400 to 1,000, even to 1,500. And all the way up to 2,000. And once you get in the white, that is 2,000 lightning strikes per 6 hours. So just want to show you all real quickly what this shows me. So this is in the afternoon, some general lightning here in Texas and Oklahoma and Kansas, and then boom. Look at this. This line of storms here, 2,000 lightning strikes per 6 hours. Absolutely insane, and it only gets bigger from there. Massive widespread area here to where there's going to be so much energy that is present here with these storms. And there's so much lightning with this, it's not even funny. The potential for some severe weather is possible here on Monday. And as I said, we're definitely going to have to watch out for this as this continues to move on through. Low-level jet is interesting. You do have some southerlies that are here present within the storm. You also have a low-level jet right here, or, well, this is a low-level jet. You also have a surface low right here, which could increase the vorticity, so the chance for tornadoes are possible here. We're going to have to definitely watch out for this as time continues to move on through, but right in the 15%, I 100% agree that there could be some severe weather there. Maybe potentially something tornadic, but definitely some large hail if there isn't going to be anything. 100% the possibility with these storms. Then your upper-level jet, I'm going to actually draw these arrows here to see if we have some crossovers. But your upper level jet here, you do have some crossovers here within this general vicinity. You can see how there is some veering in the atmosphere, and your shear is at least near 40 knots of wind shear. Anything from 40 knots and above, you can get some severe weather, even some supercells. You know, the El Reno tornado that had over 300 miles per hour winds at its peak, formed under 40 or 45 knot, 500 millibar wind shear. So, you know, definitely something we're going to have to monitor with this as time continues to move on through. All right, that's going to be it for the analysis. I would like to thank our channel members or our weather enthusiasts for, you know, supporting the channel. I really do appreciate it so much, what you guys have done. So, you know, all these people here that you see above, they've supported the channel and they've become channel members. A monthly subscription and stuff like that to help me. So, you know, it's absolutely amazing as to what all you guys have done. So thank you so much. And yeah, that's going to be it for me. If you guys did enjoy the video, please be sure to like it, subscribe if you're new, and turn on notifications. Also share this with friends and family and on social media and people who might be impacted by these areas. That would be greatly appreciated. And yeah, that would be that's going to be pretty much it. Oh, one other thing. I do have a Discord server, so the link is going to be in the description down below if you want to join that. That would be greatly appreciated. We have over 800 members in our server now. That is completely insane. So if you guys want to join this community where they just talk about weather and, you know, just try and enhance their weather skills, or even just hang out with me for the most part, then feel free to do so. Link is in the description. So that's going to be it for me. My name is Nate. I also go by HockeyBoy Nate. I'll catch you guys tomorrow in the next video. Peace out, everyone.